So welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita online classes. We'll continue even in post-pandemic era because most of us are actually located not close to temple. So this is if very effective. This has proved very effective over last 2 years to connect with different devotees and get engaged, get them to engage, with the Krishna consciousness. So we'll continue with these sessions even going forward. And topic for today that we will discuss is glories of Krishna Bhakti. So this is something that we are all trying to pursue. We are trying to become devotees of Lord Krishna. So what are the fruits that are awaiting us? What is it that we can get out of doing it? Is there anything that is there for us? What is in it for me? So this is what we will discuss today. We'll look at concluding verses of chapter 9 in order to discuss the topic that we have today. Our discussion about Krishna, our discussion about bhakti starts with bhakti is a active process. It's not passive meditation. Bhakti is practical. Bhakti is a relationship. It's a developing a relationship with someone. It's that someone is Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he has established himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our Father, our best well-wisher friend, and the one who can deliver us, and take us back to our original home. That's Golok Vrindavan. This is the, in summary, the message of Bhagavad Gita. And uh, so once having learned this, a devotee or a person who wish to become a devotee, he will do certain things. Having learned this message, having understood this information from devotees and from scriptures, a devotee will put some effort. He will do some things practically. It is not those who hear it once or twice and then they get on with their life, old existing original life. They probably are prospective devotees. They cannot really be referred to them as devotees. Very difficult to refer to them as devotees because devotion requires practical action. Like motherhood has actual duties. Motherhood has practical actions to be performed. It cannot be done in mind. That I'm taking care of my child. She has to get up in the middle of night and do what is required whenever child cries, and that is just not restricted to night time. Day and night time, it's practically 24-hour. Mothers remain engaged in taking care of their babies till they become reasonably old. So like that, devotion is also a very practical thing. It's not something that you do in bhakti. Man mein kar liya. Man is required. Intelligence is required, and body is also required. The senses are also required. So everything is engaged in serving Krishna. So we'll look at some aspects that if this is a relationship between two, a soul and Krishna, who is the supreme soul, super soul. Who does what? A devotee, what does a devotee do? And how Krishna reciprocates. This is going to be the theme of today's discussion. So typically a devotee having learned about Krishna having discovered that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the learning about him is going to give me liberation. The basic purpose of arriving in this world, taking birth, growing up, going to school, going to college, earning some money for maintaining our family, having a family, maintaining a family, and what next? What And then repeat the whole thing again. When we become old, we die, and then we again take birth and then repeat. What's the purpose? Where it's all leading to? What is it all leading to? What is the ultimate aim for which we are doing all this magajmari, and what are we achieving out of it? We may start at a particular level, and then by the end of our life we would have progressed to a different level, a better level, a small home to big home, no AC to AC, no car to having fleet of cars at our service. Now that's good. If you do it within India, you may have similar homes in India, many homes in India, plus homes in other countries. But all that is fine. But at the end of one's life, one has to again take birth and repeat this whole process. Then what's the use of it? What's what's in it for us? Why it is going to be so much a waste? All these efforts are going to get wasted. Then why put in those efforts at all? So learning from scriptures, the world cannot teach us liberation, about world cannot tell anything about liberation, because the world is created for the purpose of our enjoyment, and world per se is non-conscious. World cannot teach us. World can only provide us facility to try and enjoy ourselves in this world while using the various resources that are available in this world. So the knowledge about liberation will can only come from scriptures, because this is not, the scriptures don't belong to this world. Scriptures are words of God captured by saints in form of a book for our consumption and application both. So the scriptures are a paurushya. They are not. They are non. The scriptures are no, don't belong to this world. Neither we belong to this world. Therefore, humans can understand the scriptures and understand the higher purpose of life. The higher purpose of life is not to become rich during one's lifetime. If one becomes rich, which is okay, but that's not end of it. It's also not to become very healthy, remain healthy till the end of your life. If you can remain healthy, that's okay, but healthy persons also die, and sick person also die, rich person also die, and poor person also has to die. So objective is not to do all this. Objective is to get out of it. Like a boy taking admission in IIT or IIM also has to eat food to survive, to survive for the next 2 years, 3 years of his education. Also has to wear decent clothes, also need a facility where he can sleep and take rest, because these are simply bodily biological requirements, and those also need to be taken care of. However, eating food only is not the objective of getting admission in IIM. Objective is to get qualified and get pass. So put in efforts for in that direction, rather than just becoming remaining focused on where I'm staying, which room I'm staying, how good the facilities in my room are, and what am I eating, what am I wearing. And if you one focuses on this, they will miss out on the ultimate purpose is to get out of that college, pass out of that college, and the whole new career, a uh, whole new whole new world awaits us. We say that once you pass, the whole world is awaiting for you, as if. But for that, one still has to eat, but doesn't have to focus overly on eating. One still has to stay in hostel, or some facility of for stay is required, but one need not put in too much of emphasis on that, and focus keep one's focus on the study, which will help them get out of that college. So similarly, we in this world have also to live. We also need a place to live, a decent place to live, comfortable place to live, uh, a, a facility where we can eat and we don't have to sleep hungry. And then all after having achieved the fundamental things, which are necessities for survival, one needs to elevate one's consciousness and think where I can go, where what is the ultimate purpose of life. And if the purpose of life is to go back to Krishna, the sadhana that we perform for that is are the equivalent of studies that a student has to do in his school or in his college. So after doing that, while by doing that properly, we become qualified. We become qualified to get out of this world and go to the Krishna Loka, and that's the objective of human life, human birth. Is stated in the 9th verse of 4th chapter, where Krishna says, "Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti so Arjuna." And how you will achieve this? पुनर्जन्म कैसे avoid होगा? जन्म कर्म चमे दिव्यम एवं यो वेत्ति तत्वतः, by knowing my birth and my activities, by knowing about my incarnations and my activities, how after having incarnated, how I have performed different pastimes with different devotees. And having understood this, now this is stated in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is full of all Lord's different incarnations and different activities. When Lord, after having taken those incarnations, the activities that Lord performed with his devotees, the demons that he killed, uh, the beautiful leelas that he performed, not only in the Krishna avatar, in Ram avatar, in Varaha avatar, in Matsya avatar, in so many different incarnations that are listed, Vaman avatar, Narsimha avatar, and all those avatars, all those incarnations, during after Krishna was performing various leelas during those pastimes, and those are also captured by Vyasdev for our benefit. So having so these are the broad leelas which are there, which is what Krishna mentioned in the 7th and 8th verse. Yadaidahi hi dharmasya glanirбхати bharata. Or 8th verse, he says that paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chatushkritam. And he does all those activities, and those activities are captured in Bhagavatam as the entire 18,000 verses are full with Krishna Leela, Krishna's different incarnations and different pastimes that he performed during those incarnations. So having taken knowledge of that, if you know that perfectly, if you know that properly, then Krishna says you will not have to take birth again. And that becomes the goal of human life. That becomes the objective for human birth. And but as we will be alive, what we will do, we will still perform activities because we need to survive in the world. And for that we'll end up either, if we don't have proper knowledge, we'll either perform good activities or bad activities, and they both will yield their good and bad fruits. The good fruits and the bad fruits are the reasons for bondage. Because if it is a good fruit, we'll have to take birth and enjoy that good fruit. If it is a bad fruit, we have to still take birth and suffer for that bad fruit. And how these fruits are coming upon us is something that nobody can understand. Gahana karmanogati is indeed gahan. Gahan is something that's nobody can understand. Nobody can even figure out. And people are bewildered in their efforts to figure out. And a lot of time we hear people say that bad people are enjoying, and I'm not doing bhakti and I'm still enjoying, and you're doing bhakti, you're still suffering. What's the use of doing bhakti? So these are practical examples where we see people in ignorance can actually have this kind of understanding, wrong understanding, and which can cause which will result them not taking up bhakti at all, and can make their path back to Godhead extremely difficult. Who can guide us in this? Then what karma to be performed? A spiritual master can guide us. Devotee teacher can guide us, and he can ultimately tell us that how bhakti is supreme. Because when we become content with what we have, we then look for doing social work. That's very natural for us to try and help others, and that helps. So that can become karma yoga or jnana yoga. One may philosophically discuss scriptures and try to learn various scriptures and various ruchas and this Veda, that Veda, and can keep debating on all that, and just waste a whole lifetime. But a proper devotee will engage you in those activities which are the net which are the ultimate recommendation by all the Vedas, which is ultimately recommended by all the Vedas. And Gitopanishad is Upanishad, that is the nectar of all Vedas, all the four Vedas. The nectar of it is stored in Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and proper devotee will under proper guidance, one can learn the ultimate purpose of learning Bhagavad Gita, which is to go back to Godhead. And that's how and this purpose is not available to anyone. Neither a karma yogi wants to go back to Godhead, a dhyana yogi doesn't know about Godhead, a non-devotees, they don't know about Godhead. Mayavadi philosophers, they know only about Brahma Jyotir, and they can't go back to Godhead because they don't have such desire to go back to Godhead. So one needs to be under proper guidance so that we can cultivate proper desire. Once a desire is there, without our wish, even Krishna cannot take us back to Godhead, because we still need to desire it in order for him to be able to make it unable us to go there. So without our desire, even Krishna cannot. Krishna doesn't take away our free will that he himself has given us. So in 18.63, Krishna says, Vimbrishena Asheshana Yatha Ichhasi Tatha Kuru. As you desire, so you do, O son of Kunti. So Krishna never takes away our free will. So which means we need proper guidance so that we can make proper choices. And those choices, if we do those proper choices under the guidance of devotees, will lead us to making Krishna our goal of our life, and hearing and chanting our means or sadhana to achieve that goal. Okay, so so how, what then? We've made Krishna our goal and we started hearing and chanting. Where is the ultimate examination comes? That comes at the moment of death. So we should know when the exams are going to be conducted. And in this case, this is going to be a surprise test, because nobody knows when that exam will happen, for whom, when. Nobody knows. It may happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow, few years later, but definitely it will happen someday, or few moments later, as the case might be. So one should be prepared at any given point of time to appear for this particular exam. In the IIMs or IITs, there are schedules that are published so that students know that this is going to be my schedule. I need to study for 6 months, then appear for semester, and like that, after completing few semesters, the final examination will come, and if I pass that, I get a certificate. I'll get out of this. I'll get out of this college. And nobody wants to stay in the college forever, even though people like college life. Nobody wants to stay there forever. They perpetually, they all want to get out of that. They may wish to go back, but nobody wants to stay there permanently. That's not very healthy desire. So one can, how our examinations are set, they are set as a surprise test. So if surprise test, what are we supposed to do when that such test comes? We are supposed to remember Krishna at the moment of our death. Krishna says, anta kalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhava yanti nasti atra samshayaha. There is no doubt that you will attain me if you remember me at the moment of death. And there is a qualification in law. We learn that there is a law, and then there are some qualifications, or there are some in subject to terms and conditions. Something is written there that if you do this, then this will not happen. And that is the tip that is there, or the footnote that is there, which says that that is the 6th verse, where Krishna says, whatever you remember form, whatever form you remember, that form you attain, or whatever whatever you remember, that you attain. And therefore it's very important for you to cultivate right remembrance. Now this remembrance comes from the process of when it is cultivated throughout the life, then it becomes easy to manifest at the end of a life. What we have not done throughout life cannot be suddenly manifested. And in the moment of our examination, if student has not studied throughout his term, then it's practically impossible for him to remember anything and write properly in the exam. So similarly, Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhya cha. So during the entire life you remember me. When you remember me throughout your life, you will automatically remember me at the end of life. So devotees wants to remember Krishna throughout one's life, and one way of remembering Krishna is ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nityashah tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. So one way of remembering Krishna is by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by taking Krishna's name, by visiting Krishna's temple, by performing Krishna puja by our own hand, by keeping fast for Krishna, by hearing Krishna's pastimes from devotees, by visiting his dham, a place where he appeared and he performed pastimes. So this is where the 9 processes of devotional service which are given are our tools. Are using those tools we can cultivate remembrance of Krishna. Why this is cultivated? Because it's not, it is there in us, but it is dormant at the moment and which need to be cultivated. And devotees experience great happiness in doing this, and hence mam upetya tu mam upatya punarjanma dukhalaya ashashvata. So those devotees, once they have tasted Krishna's bliss, spiritual happiness, those will not then desire to come back to dukhalayam ashashvatam, this place of misery. The Krishna has टाइटल लेबल दिस वर्ल्ड एज दुखालय. जैसे कि पुस्तकालय में पुस्तक होते हैं, दुखालय में दुख होता है. And we find it, we see it everywhere. Sometimes we if we are comfortably placed ourselves, we forget that there are miseries in the world, but we don't know when the next set of miseries are going awaiting for us, and hence we should be ready, because this world is dukhalaya. The last 2 years must have helped us realize this fact a little bit. But the moment things will open up, we will tend to forget that also very fast. So the realizations that came like a lightning, it gave light for some time, but it light goes off, went away also very quickly. It should be like a tube light that every day we should remember that yes, this is a dukhalaya. I'm still comfortably placed today. However, that's not necessarily the guarantee for tomorrow. And ultimately, even if I'm comfortably placed, I'm still bound. So what's the purpose? What's the use of having sitting comfortably in jail? I should rather look to get out of my jail, rather than creating comfortable situation in my jail and staying in jail forever. So devotees, then what do they desire? Devotees desire to return to their real home, where there is permanent and eternal happiness, the abode of Supreme Lord. Ya prapyam na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. 8.21 verse. So the direct experience is required. Because if one has to cultivate this desire that we want to go in this to the spiritual world, where there are spiritual activities, where I will have a spiritual form, Krishna will be there, and we will have interaction, we will have pastimes, I'll get opportunity to serve him. And this service is relishable in this world. How relishable it's going to be in the spiritual world. So having got my direct experience using my current body, current senses, and the facility that Krishna has provided through deity worship, through kirtans, through chanting, through hearing, through visiting dham, and various eating prasad, and by way of various activities, one experiences spiritual joy, and that confirms one's belief, and deepens one's belief to Shraddha, from Shraddha to Nishtha. That is, the Shraddha is a faith, and Nishtha is conviction. It's like a patient getting cured by say he a patient was following allopathy medicines for a long time, but somebody suggested him to take homeopathy medicines, and he goes there, approaches it, and take those medicines for 2-3 months, and he gets cured. Now when he go back to his allopathy doctor, he start criticizing the homeopathy doctor and homeopathy as a whole process. Now this person who has experienced cure because of homeopathy is not able to negate all the arguments that this allopathy doctor is giving. However, his faith is now conviction, because he's got cured. He was taking treatment from the allopathy doctor and he was not getting cured for 6 months, 1 year, whatever. And this homeopathy doctor somehow has cured him in 3 months. So he doesn't, he may not be able to give all the counter arguments to this allopathy doctor in his language. However, nothing will change his belief that homeopathy exists, homeopathy works, and it has worked on me. So that fact nobody can change. Nobody can, I mean, that fact in his mind, in his heart, remains unchanged. And no matter how stronger arguments the allopathy doctor may give against homeopathy as such, this person will not care. He will, even if, his faith will remain unshaken. So that way, so this is what happens when a devotee get experience of spiritual happiness in the Krishna consciousness. And you can get these experiences by performing spiritual activities, by engaging yourself in the spiritual activities, by visiting temples, by participating and singing and dancing in kirtans, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by hearing katha from exalted devotees. This can easily be experienced. And the more you engage yourself, more you experience this. And that's why, and then this becomes unshaken. Their faith in Krishna's existence become unshakable. And that's where they fall in love with Krishna. Now for them, Krishna is not an abstract reality. Whenever they want, they can experience Krishna. Whenever they they want to take experience of Krishna, they can go to a temple and participate in kirtan and sing along with the devotees, and instant there is realization of happiness. Now this happiness, which otherwise cannot come by singing a film song with other normal friends, or or karaoke singing of film songs. Now this connection, one has to connect this happiness with Krishna, because when we sing Krishna's glories, when we sing Krishna bhajan, when we sing Krishna's kirtan with devotees who are surrendered to Krishna, who are submissive to Krishna, who are non-envious of Krishna, then with this connection with Krishna, we experience that happiness. Once devotees are able to understand this link, then they want to relish this happiness more and more, and that's how they get engaged more and more in serving Krishna. so so the percentage of bhakti in our life initially could be 1%, could grow to 2%, 5%, 10%. Now as you experience more, you increase this percentage more, and eventually devotees can make Krishna their life, devotional service their life. And hence they may start, they may do everything else as necessary to perform bhakti. Bhakti becomes primary, everything else can become secondary. So what I will, they will do whatever that is required to be done in order to perform bhakti without any distraction, without any interruption, without any deviation. So if they are staying in a, so they will maintain accounts, they will pay bills, so that in uninterrupted bhakti can go on in a temple. So they will seem to be engaged in doing all kind of activities, but the core of their effort, core of their action is Krishna consciousness and serving Krishna, service to Krishna. So this is where a devotee has increased now the percentage of bhakti in their life from maybe less than 50% to greater than 50%, and moving towards 100%. Now this is at this stage one can easily witness a complete transformation in one's life. Now the devotees only seem to be acting to please Krishna. They will do anything and everything to make Krishna happy. It's as simple as that. And anything that is pratikul to bhakti, pratikul, or which can become an obstruction for bhakti, they reject. So they accept what is anukul, they reject what is pratikul. And this behavior of theirs is could be completely contradiction to their previous avatar before they came to bhakti. So there is clear a 180-degree change in a person's life, what he was before he came to Krishna consciousness and what he is after he comes to Krishna consciousness. And this is where people will definitely notice this. And they will start talking about it, they will start arguing about it, they may start even challenging a devotee about this. But as I said, no matter how you challenge, how much you challenge, if a devotee has experienced spiritual joy, uh, I mean, no matter who says what, he will continue to take that experience of spiritual joy, irrespective of any other arguments being given to the contrary. Because what one has personally experienced, nobody else can deny that. So that becomes just undeniable truth. So this is where the devotee do serve Krishna more, Krishna reciprocates more. So we'll now see how Krishna reciprocates. Now this is what a devotee has been doing, and now we will see what Krishna does. Now do Krishna does his part because it's a relationship. So what we have seen is that what we have said in the beginning, that if it's a relationship, both there are two people, have to be two people in a relationship. You can't have and both of them need to do things, both have to be active in their relationships. So how what are the activities that Krishna perform? Now this is all what devotee does when he takes up Krishna consciousness seriously. And now we will see what Krishna does. Now Krishna says this is beautifully captured in the verses towards the end, when and Krishna has been speaking. Krishna has been speaking in ninth chapter. He starts um, by saying that Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam, that he explained that this is supreme knowledge. This is supreme, the most confidential knowledge, the king of all knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge as well. Having known this, you will have nothing else to be known. And he glorifying this knowledge. And which is this knowledge? This knowledge is where Krishna becomes surrendered. Krishna becomes devotee of his devotee. In one of the last sessions, we've seen Prabhupada write in the purport that Krishna becomes devotee of a devotee. So Krishna gets Krishna subordinates himself to a devotee. Krishna is supreme, he is superior, but he comes under the control of a devotee. A devotee can control Krishna. A devotee can make Krishna do things as he desire, and Krishna readily, happily submits himself to the control of devotee, and he does as per what devotee desire. How does that work and how does that manifest for us is captured in the last few verses of ninth chapter. We'll see those verses again. We have discussed these verses previously, but we'll see them briefly. Krishna says, though he is supreme personality of Godhead, though he doesn't need anything from anyone, he is forced to accept whenever anything is offered to him with love and devotion. And Prabhupada writes that whenever if we have to offer to Krishna on the devotee's part, devotee should ensure. So if some guests are coming to our home, uh, a normal practice is we check with the guest what would they like, rather than we try to give them what we like. And if they may not like it, then they're they will not be able to eat, they will not be able to relish. So the whole purpose of feeding guests is defeated if that happens. So one has to ensure that we offer to someone what other person expect, what other person prefers, other person like. So Krishna given here what he likes. And Yajna Shishta Shina Santo Muchante Sarva Kilbishay, where Krishna says that my devotees never eats anything that is not offered to me. Without offering to me, my devotees never eats. And here Krishna gives what he likes to eat, so that devotees then can offer to him what he likes. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya praishchati tad aham bhakti uparatam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So if anyone offers to me with love and devotion, even if a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, Krishna says, I will accept it. Now, this is a big commitment that Krishna says that I will accept it. And he says that I'm forced to accept because I cannot reject anybody's love and devotion. The love and devotion are the components, are those things which forces Krishna to accept anything that is offered by devotee. But Krishna still gives what he prefers. He does not want eggs to be given, meat to be given. even onion garlics to be given. The sattvic food has to meet some basic level of sattva guna. Food should be sattvic in nature. And then Krishna says if that is offered to him, he accepts it, he likes it. Krishna says that his devotees then start doing whatever they do as an offering to Krishna, and Krishna recommends it. Krishna likes it done to be done in that way, because Krishna does not want his devotees to get entangled in the world, because the system is created by him. So he is the one who knows this system inside out. So he is also giving us a solution by way of which we can escape this system. The way to escape this system is to do everything by keeping Krishna at the center. So when we do this, these activities become spiritual activities, and they do not yield any fruit, neither for, and since there are no fruits, uh, there is no question of we taking birth again to enjoy or suffer for those fruits. But one may say that, what about my previous fruits? Because I've come to Krishna consciousness at an advanced age. I could be 20, I could be 50, I could be whatever, 60, 70. But there is my past life, and I can't just shoo it away. I can just deny it. I before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was doing one, two, three, four, five things, and the list can go on. It's a big list that what I used to do before I realize that why the sense control is required, why the four regulative principles are required. So what about those? All those actions also would have yielded some fruits, and these are the actions which I can remember in the current birth. What about actions from my past birth? Now I understand that I always existed. Never was there a time that I did not existed. Krishna says, and he also says that jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvo janma mritasya cha, that those who have taken birth has to die. There is a dhruvo mrityu. Mrityu is atal, they have to die. And dhruvo janma mritasya cha, if you die, you will be forced to take birth also. So there are births, multiple births I might have had before my current birth. So what about those fruits from the past life actions? So Krishna says, don't worry. If you follow the devotional path, if you follow the path of devotional service, sadhana bhakti, the hearing and chanting, simple activities, and eating prasad, and rendering service, 4 or 5 basic things, even if you can do, uh, those are sufficient for you. I will free you from the bondage. If you do those consistently, if you do those sincerely, wholeheartedly, I will free you from bondage of work. Shubha, Ashubha, Falairaiva, Moksha se karma bandhane. Not only from this lifetime, but also from your millions of past lifetime. So Krishna has the capacity, has the power to free us off from all the past garbage that we all carry with ourselves. Right now, if we are in comfortable position, this garbage could be good garbage or good fruits that are awaiting to be delivered to us. But or they could be bad fruits, good followed by bad, and that's always the case. So Krishna says that I will take care of both the shubha as well as ashubha. We cannot pick and choose. Ashubha hai wo ghala do, shubha rakh do, I will enjoy more. Krishna does not want us to take that chance, because if you'll enjoy more, you will yield another newer fruits, and this able mentality to enjoy will give us that fruit. And hence Krishna will take care of both the shubha as well as the ashubha phala. And so then then once that happens, then naturally, if we have no more fruits to either enjoy or suffer, we come to liberation, we come to the moment of liberation. And Krishna then says that this liberation is, you will come to me. It's not that you'll go and sit nowhere, or it's not that you'll merge with something and become one with anything else. You cannot do that. When you will come to me, and we will have pastimes in the spiritual world. Sammoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. Krishna says, I'm equal to all, but I'm partial to my devotees. I will favor my devotees. If you become my devotees, I will favor you. I will do partiality. I will not do cheating, because my offer to become devotee is open to everyone. everybody can take up this Bhagavad Gita, read, understand it from a devotee, and become a devotee. And then I will favor him. I will give special favors to him. I will give some special treatment to him. So if prasad distribution is happening, if you know the person who is distributing prasad, you may get slightly more sweet. You may get slightly bigger portion of paneer sabzi. That's just so natural. So Krishna says these are small favors, but you can get big favors also. And Krishna can give anything to us if it is conducive for our bhakti. So there is further more benefit in becoming a devotee. So Krishna says, I will be partial to you, and nobody can put a finger on that, because who can tell Krishna not to be partial? Whatever Bhagwan does, that's dharma. So dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranita. The pranita also means he do whatever Krishna does become dharma. That's the rule. So no, there's no challenge for Krishna. So Krishna being equal to both Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. Because why? Because he put them on his lap. Both of them, he gave his lap to both of them, Hiranyakashipu as well as to Prahlad. But how Krishna is partial? He does something different. He's reciprocating with Hiranyakashipu in his mood, and he performs an open stomach surgery on him by taking him on his lap. While Prahlad, he's feeding him with some food stuff. So he he offer him to give some benediction, ask for some benediction, O Prahlad. I'm so happy with you that you remembered me throughout all difficulties. You remembered me throughout all the problems that were occurring upon you. You never forgot me, and I'm so pleased by this. Now you ask for something. Prahlad says कि मैंने कोई deal नहीं की थी. I didn't perform bhakti to ask for something. मैं व्यापारी नहीं हूँ. I'm not a trader कि ये देने से ये लूंगा. So I don't want anything. And then Prahlad Narasimhadev still insists, and then he says, okay, give me a boon that I will never be attracted to the material enjoyment, sense enjoyment. I will not get entangled in the sense enjoyment. So that's a very elevated state of mind or a consciousness that is required in order to be to say something like this. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachanti vigachati kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashati. Now Krishna is going all out in giving assurances to Arjuna that you have done so much for me. If you do so much for me, if my devotees do so much, I will not do any, I will not turn, I will not leave any stone unturned to get that devotee back. I'll do anything to help that devotee come back to me. And to what extent he can go, he's saying that my devotees will never perish. My devotee will never perishes. And he's asking Arjuna to go in the middle of marketplace. And जैसे कि पहले के जमाने में राजा के लोग आते थे, बड़ा ड्रम लेके आते थे, जोर से बजाते थे, then all people used to assemble and then they used to shout loudly and announce कि राजा ने आज क्या बोला है, what message is given by the king, and then they can go from one marketplace to another marketplace. Like that they distribute the whole news. So prati kaunteya prati janihi is a declaration like that, that go on the rooftop and shout and tell everyone that my devotees never perishes. So Krishna want this to be known to everyone. It just किसी के कान में मत बोलो. Don't just tell on the Zoom call. Loudly बोलो, newspaper में छापो, TV में ad दो, do whatever, wherever possible, make sure that everybody hears this. And why everybody has to hear it? So that they can be inspired to take up bhakti. That become my devotee, इतना फायदा है कि he will never perish. So why not become his devotee? Why are you afraid of becoming Krishna's devotee? So take up devotion to him. We'll do a quick activity. Name bhakta pranashyati is there is no loss. There is no loss to a person. So what is it that we possess that we can fear of losing? We'll do an activity. So this is a case study we'll take on. The person in the picture is a great grandson of Henry Ford. Henry Ford is the one who started Ford company, and his name is Alfred Ford, and he's met Srila Prabhupada in 1974, came to India, took initiation from him. In 1975, his initiated name is Ambarish Das. He is the chairman of TOVP, the temple for a temple of Vedic planetarium that is getting constructed in Mayapur, almost 90-95% completed. Met his wife in Australia. She was doing PhD in New South Wales. Get married there. She's a Bengali by birth, and he has 2 daughters. This is him. This is him. Now, when Krishna says, I will protect my devotees, I'll go any extent to protect my devotees. Let's try and understand what is it that Krishna wish to protect. What is it that Krishna want to protect? And in order to answer that, let us all understand what all this person might have. Now we have taken a case study. This cannot be applicable to all of us also, but what all the possessions that one person may have, that one may wish to be protected.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
So, yes, Prabhuji. So, when someone is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, he just wanted to be protected his bhakti aspects of it, and not, in my opinion, means, and not the physical aspects of it, like I have got the physical possessions, the property, and everything. He is not careful about the protection of that particular thing. And as in 922, Krishna says that Yogakshem Vahamyam. So he is pretty sure about it. That like the example of Panda from Jagannath Puri is there, that he was sure that the Krishna will carry whatever I lack and will preserve what I have. Means he will be taking care of mine in full. But as far as the
Yeah,
this
so let
devotional
us
side
list out what all he possesses, and then we will chalk out that. So on the material, you mentioned about 2 things that one may possess: one's own material life and material possessions, and spiritual life and spiritual possessions. Can we make a quick list of? Can you give examples of such a
Prabhuji,
material
can I
life
say
and material
something?
possessions? Yes, Project.
Krishna wants to protect his devotees from anarthas. So
Anarthas, okay.
Anarthas.
Okay,
That
not
is
indulge into anarthas. So okay. So anarthas, okay. Anything, what else one may possess? What else a person may have? A person of this stature, who is a board member of Ford global company. Yesterday he met 31st March. He was in Mayapur, and he invited Mamta Banerjee to the Mayapur temple, and then she came for the first time. Can you imagine? I think that this probably was her. This is such a big project, such a big community is of ISKCON that exists in Mayapur, and Chief Minister of Bengal, she visited Mayapur Dham for the first time, and she met him, and obviously she was asking him for setting up some Ford plant in West Bengal, so that there could be some more employment opportunity. And then he also requested her to help help with the temple, make Mayapur global tourism spot. Now she herself is visiting for the first time, and he's asking her to make Mayapur as a global tourism hub, where people from all over the world wants to come to Mayapur. So please make a nice highway, if possible, make an airport, whatever that you need to do to make Mayapur the biggest tourist spot in the world. And so he's completely at a different level. He's asking. He wants to make Mayapur a global tourist center, wherein the chief minister visited actually for the first time herself. So this is the influence. This is the kind of influence that he possesses, that he can. So what all material possessions that he may have? If one wants to make a list of that, what else could come there? Yeah, so let me just help by sharing the slide. So what all material possessions, what all things that are important to any person? Now he has a wife, he has 2 daughters. So obviously, as for a personal point of view, his own body is important. We want to protect our body. We want to protect our health, our mental health, our intelligence. We want to remain intelligent, sharp in our in our decision making, and we'll deal in our sharp in our dealings with the world. We want to be smart. Then if one has family, one is obviously worried about his family. They're worried about the health of their family members, and well-being of their family members. Very natural. The education, the one may have taken some education, he probably would have gone to the best of colleges in the world, and one does not want to forget that knowledge. So you have courses being taken up by even senior executives to brush up their skills, so that they don't lose out on the education. Otherwise, by passage of time, so kale neha mohta yogo nashta parantapa. So by the passage in the course of time, everything is get lost. So Bhagavad Gita knowledge can also get lost. So what to speak of material knowledge? So knowledge, one has to keep learning, keep sharpening one's knowledge. So nobody wants to lose what they possess. The prestige, is a big man in America, probably one of the richest mans in top rich persons in America, and also famous. The fame in the society, globally, everybody, all the Ford may have lakhs and lakhs of employees worldwide, and everybody would have heard his name. And within United States also, within the devotee community, millions of people obviously know him. So there is a fame, there is wealth. Great grandson of Henry Ford, he is one of the millionaires in the United States. So obviously, he takes care of his wealth also. The possessions, he probably might have had jewels and whatever possessions that may have. He's is not that he's not protecting all that. Social contacts, is an influential person. You can uh, he is influential. I mean, if you are board member of Ford, which is a Fortune 500 company, you are influential in the corporate America. So all these things are real things, and we, knowingly or unknowingly, all of us may have these in different degrees. We have taken an example of someone who is at the peak, or is at a different level, but all of us have these things. The left hand side, all the bullets, all of us will have in different degrees, but they do exist, and we do put in effort to take care of that. So is Krishna, when says I will protect, I will not let you perish, uh, is this what we expect? This is what we actually expect Krishna to protect, and this is what Krishna means when he says, I will not let you perish. The right hand side, Krishna is on the right hand side, while we expect, the people in general expect protection on the left hand side. Krishna says there is spiritual consciousness and a spiritual practice, spiritual advancement that you have achieved. I will protect that. I will protect that. And if at all you mess up in this life, for next life, you will start from where you have left off. So I will protect it. So if you, there are many people who come to our classes and they've heard, they hear for 2-3 sessions, ask nice questions, and they stop attending classes for no reason. And many times they don't even provide their phone numbers. So we don't even know, we can't even reach out to them and ask them why you have stopped coming. So, but these people, whenever they will again get connected with Krishna consciousness, they will remember all that what they have heard in those 2, 3, 5, 6, 10 classes. So the theory, the information remains the same. The Krishna consciousness remains the same. Whenever, whichever stage of life you take it up again, you don't have to again figure out how to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You will probably remember also Hare Krishna Mahamantra at that time. So wherever you left off, you start from there. So the spiritual possessions, the spiritual advancement, which is there on the right hand side, Krishna protects that. The mercy of Guru, Krupa, the devotee association, the services, responsibilities, the sadhana, personal deity worship. He has personal deities. He takes care of deities whenever he's not traveling. He gets up at 3:30 and do his japa, do his puja, and then steps out in the corporate attire for meetings. He does all that every day, and his family does it. His daughters are doing it. The personal collection of sacred book. the personal deities are also important. We go to Vrindavan, there are separate deities. Each of the acharyas, each of the Goswamis, they had their personal bhajan kutir and they had their personal deities. Prabhupada had his personal deity, and so all those are very special. They have special relationship with their deities and Radha Krishna deities. So that's so special. Personal sadhana, of course, that's required. Personal collection of books, sacred books. You will have some books, like my Bhagavad Gita, which I'm using is the one which I had bought in 2013. I have attended one course, and in that course, it was given to me. So since 2013, I'm using this. In between, I must have had distributed many Bhagavad Gitas, brand new Bhagavad Gitas, but I'm unwilling to replace this because this has lots of marking, lots of note. I did my Bhakti Shastri course using this Bhagavad Gita copy. So it's whenever it's not there, I'm in anxiety. I want the same book to be there. So there is a personal connection of books, Brahminical qualities that one may acquire, and definitely if person of his stature who has performed sadhana for so long has all those qualities, and we'll look at those qualities later. Sukruti are the pious credits. So Krishna is protecting right hand side, whereas the normal expectation of the society is to give protection from God on the left hand side. Because they are not aware, either not aware of the right hand side, or they don't care much about the right hand side, or probably they don't value the right hand side more, and they focus is on the left hand side. But Krishna, this is what Krishna says, that protection is for the spiritual advancement and spiritual protection of a devotee, so that even if a devotee falls, now devotee doesn't have to fall, but we have seen in the previous verse that sudurachara can happen. A sudurachara is performing abominable actions even by an advanced devotee. It could be a small slip wherein you do something wrong, or it's a fall. You just give up Krishna consciousness and go back to your old ways of life. Eat whatever we used to eat earlier, drink whatever we used to drink earlier. We know everything, we have heard the philosophy, we have experienced Krishna, but at times we can a soul can decide to go back to their old ways of life. And however, Krishna says that I will not, no matter how Krishna does not leave us at any moment. Krishna continues to be in our heart and continues to give us protection from there. We witness everything that's happening, and but he never leaves us. There is nothing in our capacity to do. That we cannot do anything that will make Krishna so much upset that he will leave us and go away. So Krishna will never leave us. Krishna will never, no matter how bad we become, how bad we decide to behave with him or with anybody, any of his souls. So souls. So Krishna always maintain throughout the journey. Krishna gives free will to soul, and using that free will, a devotee can choose to become a devotee and remain a devotee for one's lifetime and take up sincerely Krishna consciousness, follow all the four regulative principles, and perform sadhana nicely to cultivate remembrance of Krishna and ultimately remember Krishna at the end of our life. However, a soul using the same free will can choose not to do any of these things. Say बहुत हो गया ये, अब मैं थोड़ा enjoy कर लेता हूँ, थोड़ा क्या कर दें, मतलब क्या बुरा है उसमें भी, मैं लीगली तो कर रहा हूँ, मैं अपने पैसे से तो कर रहा हूँ, अब सभी लोग तो कर रहे हैं, उनका तो कुछ नुकसान नहीं होता हुआ दिख रहा है, तो मुझसे क्या बुरा होगा, और होगा तो होगा, देखा जाएगा, किसने ये लाइफ में तो नहीं होगा, अगले लाइफ किसने देखा है तो तभी देख लेंगे. Many arguments people may give in order to go back to their old ways of doing things once, in spite of becoming devotees. I will what to speak of non-devotees ka to matlab there's no way we can't even blame them, but people having tasted the nectar of Krishna consciousness can also at times go back. Now the miseries we experience by defying Krishna and joy of Krishna will ultimately give us a desire to go to Krishna and serve him there eternally. So how much a devotee may fall, actually depends on his attachment to Krishna and attachment to sense enjoyment. Because a devotee may fall for sense enjoyment only. A doubt may creep in, or or a desire may creep into his mind, which will force him backwards, because take him backwards, because those desire may still come because of the past indulgences in the recent memory, because all of us we are not born in devotee families, or we are not devotees from birth. So we took up devotion at some stage in our life, and there is past life that we can all recall, and there are things that we have done which also we can recall, and those things could have given some pleasure at that moment, that is also undeniable, and one may get a desire to enjoy that same pleasure now in spite of becoming a devotee, and that's why one may go back. So once attachment to Krishna and once attachment to those enjoyments, there is a tussle, there is a battle going on between these two. The one the which who wins depends on who is stronger. If attachment to Krishna is stronger, then attachment to sense enjoyment can get defeated. We also at our stage may want to go back and do things which we are not supposed to do even in today. So what should we do? How can we figure out what to do? And our attachment to Krishna also may not be very strong. In that case, the fall then seems to be sure shot. So that can also be prevented if you are in right connection with the devotees, if you are in right association of devotees, if you have ability to speak with devotees and tell them that you are facing this as a challenge, this is your challenge, how should you handle it? And that's, let's be candid about it, because it's very normal, because it's common, does happen across community, you are not the only one. And once you realize that, then you will have, if you are a sincere devotee, you will ask another devotee, another senior devotee for help. And once you get that help, you will apply it in your life and you will strengthen your connection with Krishna. Once that connection is strengthened, then the need for external assistance may eventually reduce. The desire, the temptations will keep coming at all stages of life. However, your connection with Krishna, if that is very strong, then your ability to say reject those increases far greater. And you will keep rejecting those, saying no to those consistently, and eventually they will stop coming. But we don't have to be worried about those when they come. So Krishna's declaration is his unconditional love for us. He expressing his unconditional love for us. What should we do then? Krishna says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, and we saw in the uh, example of Bharat Maharaj, as well as which other example we taken? I think Kashyap Prabhuji also took another example, right? Okay, so so these examples tell us that they are examples of extraordinary mercy given to devotees by Krishna. So we don't expect those mercy, that kind of a mercy to be shared with us as well. We don't consider ourselves to be eligible for that. Like Bharat Maharaj was given memory in spite of leaving body at remembering deer. He was given deer's body, but he was given past life memory. Even in Jada Bharat's life, he could remember both his previous births, and therefore he could perfect his life. And then Ajamil's case, where by mistake he chanted Krishna's Narayan name, and then Vishnudutas came. Now we don't want ourselves to be subjected to those mercy. Ajamil ko diya, hame bhi de do. So we will also try and chant Krishna's name, remember Krishna at the moment of death. But we'll do all kind of nonsense during our life, and we'll try to do that like Ajamil. So this is not a right approach in a loving relationship. So while Krishna is going all out and declaring his unconditional love for us, he's expressing his heart out. We should also reciprocate properly by ensuring we don't fall down. By ensuring that we don't fall down. That is our expression of love for him. So it's not just one way. We just don't take things. We give back also to Krishna. Another important verse is Mahi Partha Vyapashritya Yepi Syu Papa yonayaha striyo vaishyas tatha shudra stepi yanti param gatim. So what's happening here? Son of Pratap, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower births, women, Vaishya, merchant, Shudras, and they all can attain the supreme destination. Yanti Param Gatim. That everybody can attain, no matter where they are, in what form they are. The Param Gati is going back to Krishna, going back to his own dham, is possible for everyone. It is not conditional that you should be in a particular varna. Now he's spoken about two varnas, the Vaishya and a Shudra varna, and the higher than that are Brahmana and Kshatriya varna. So going back to Godhead is not a monopoly of any varna or any gender. He spoke about Striya. Neither the Papa Yonaya. Papa Yonaya, in which he says that those who are lower than the even Shudras, and the dog eaters they are called as, but Chandalas, dog eaters. So those are also eligible for Krishna Lok. So Krishna Lok is not a property, is not a restricted category only for a certain class of people. It's open to everyone. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the material conception of life, there are such divisions that Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. But for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. The Bhagavatam 2.4.18, it is stated that even the lowest, who are called Chandalas, dog eaters, can be purified by association of pure devotees. Therefore, devotional service and guidance of pure devotees are so strong that there is no discrimination between lower and higher classes of men. Anyone can take to it. Further, Srila Prabhupada continues that according to the different modes of material nature, men are classified in the mode of goodness. There are Brahmanas, the mode of passion, Kshatriyas and administrator. The mixed mode, the passion and ignorance, a mixture of passion and ignorance are Vaishyas, or lower mode, mode of ignorance are Kshudras, the worker class. Those lower than them are called Chandalas, and they are born in sinful families. The Papa Yonaya process of devotional service is so strong that the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord can enable people of all the lower classes to attain the highest perfection of life. This is possible only when one takes shelter of Krishna. So division in Varna is not by birth, but it is by qualities. Now, we should understand this. We'll understand it by next slide, but let's understand this, that it is now in India, the caste system is applied or implemented in a different way. But what Krishna intended when he says that I have created this caste system uh, based on the guna varna karmashaha, based on the modes of material nature and the uh, the and the activities of the persons that perform, that people are capable of performing. So using that, he's created these four classes of men, and that's a broader division of society, and they exist since it is creation by Krishna. It exists in not in pure form, but still it exists. It cannot be eliminated, cannot be, unless Krishna decide to unwind it. So it is, but it is not based on birth. It is based on actions. It is based on a guna karma vibhagashaha. So it's on the karma also, guna as well as karma, both. Guna are the inclinations, karma are the activities. So combination of these two decides your decide which category you belong to. Due to now, what is the why this where this help where this becomes helpful? The division is helpful. This comes in the Karma Yoga chapter 3, this particular verse, where Krishna is discussing gradual progression of society. The gradual progression wherein there is no bhakti is a elevator, but if you one wish to progress gradually, then Krishna says that you have to then there are different modes, and you could be in different varnas. You could be Kshudra varna, you could be in uh, Vaishya, you could be a Kshatriya, you could be a Brahmana, and then dharma, artha, kama, and then moksha. Now, the moksha is something that was considered attainable by Brahmanas only, and a Kshatriya may take a Vanaprastha and ultimately try for take sannyas, Vanaprastha, if advanced stage take sannyas, and then try for moksha or the liberation. For Brahmanas, it was considered to be easier. Kshatriyas, it is considered to be possible. But Vaishya and Shudras, it was not considered to be possible as per the progression, because that is not because it is restricted for them, but given their nature, it's a guna karma vibhagashaha. So given their nature, they are unlikely to perform to be able to perform austerities that are required for the elevation of consciousness. So those activities are unlikely to be performed by these two classes of men, because of which the advancement in the from these gunas in the to mode of goodness and ultimately to the Shuddha Sattva becomes difficult. Uh, so again, there is opportunity available to everyone. However, given the nature, given the inclinations that people have, it's difficult to implement in the practical life. Therefore, for these men in the Vaishya and Kshudra, earlier it was considered to be difficult. Even the Krishna is speaking this, even in his time, 5,000 years ago, also this was considered to be very difficult for even a Vaishya and Kshudra to attain liberation, to progress from dharma, artha, kama to moksha, because they will get entangled in kama. It's not easy to get rid of kama, to say that I have had enough enjoyment. Now let me think what is higher, what is the purpose of life. Make this inquiry is not easy. If you have too much enjoying mentality, if you have too much desire to enjoy, too much attachment to those enjoyments, it's practically becomes impossible. So therefore it is opportunities available to everyone, but these two classes of men are unlikely to be able to make to that. The higher class, on the other hand, can regulate themselves, discipline themselves in as required, and can inquire about moksha. Now, this is where the Vedic system flow, as far as Vedic system is there. However, the devotional service is different. It's like taking elevator. If this is like taking staircase, that you purify birth after birth, birth after birth, and then eventually come to conclusion that Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So that's a gradual progression process wherein wherein one may never at time come out of this entanglement of enjoyment and control. One may want to enjoy, one may want to control, and one may never come out of it. Look around people around you, and you will find people wants to enjoy till the last breath of their life. People wish to have control over things, over people, over property till they breathe till they take their last breath. Just so difficult to give up. so so mukti, the liberation, is concept beyond people's understanding today. But if one becomes devotee, if one takes up bhakti, then anyone and everyone can perform bhakti submissively by taking guidance from devotee. Then this becomes easy. So tasyaham sulabha partha, because for bhakti, your rules and regulations are very, very small, are very, very easy to perform as compared to the what the Vedas had prescribed for gradual progression. So let's understand this by taking an example of of 12 qualities of Brahmanas. And what we'll see, we'll go through these qualities. When what we have done is we have given the meaning, the Sanskrit word, the meaning, Sanskrit meaning of that, what it means, and the opposite of it, which means, so for example, Shamo is a peacefulness or a mental equilibrium. Now, what is the opposite of mental equilibrium is intolerance or agitated mind. Now, a peaceful mind or an equilibrium mind, mental equilibrium, is what is a brahmanical, considered to be a brahmanical quality. A brahmana is never supposed to have, no, never supposed to get agitated, no matter what circumstances he could be in. And so that's one of the quality that you need as a brahmana. So anybody, so why we are looking at these 12 qualities? Because looking at this, we'll realize even those who are born in Brahman families today do not possess any of these, or very, even if they are there, they are there in very, very small quantity. So nobody practically can call themselves as a brahmana even in pure state, even today's world. So so what to speak of the other castes? So every, as Prabhupada mentioned at many places, that today everyone is born as a Kshudra. So no need for us to again subdivided them into a lower Kshudra and higher Kshudra. Everyone is Kshudra. Everyone wants to enjoy, everyone wants to control, everyone wants to, nobody wants to perform austerities for liberation. And very, very few people are even today knowing about liberation, thinking about liberation. So, so the shama is a peaceful mind or mental equilibrium. Opposite to it is agitated mind. The agitated mind, if we look around, we'll find right from our own mind, everybody's mind is agitated at some part of time or the other, or for major part of the day, their minds are agitated all the time. The dhammas are sense control. Uh, but as opposite to that, we see people fall prey to every temptation. The temptation, the moment a temptation come, it's very difficult to reject a temptation. Especially could be eating, could be drinking, could be um, could be temptations coming from opposite sex. It could be anything, and all kind of temptation. Could be the buying stock or selling stock or whatever, giving alcohol, giving up alcohol, giving up smoking, giving up drugs, all kind of temptations. When they come, most often people fall prey to that. So sense control, which is a brahmanical quality, is missing majorly. Austerity, tapa, tapa is people's ability to perform austerity is down. Cleanliness, shaucham, cleanliness, unclean practices are very prevalent or very common. Kshantir, tolerance. We are all resentful today. In today's world, we want, nobody wants to tolerate uh, the situation that they are, people are being put in. Brahmanas is supposed to be tolerant. Arjavam, honesty, the cheating propensity, dishonesty is so prominent in the society today. Jnanam, knowledge. Opposite to that is ignorance, labor. People don't know. People don't know. Vedic knowledge doesn't exist. We distribute thousands and millions of Bhagavad Gita every year. Over years, we would have distributed. Very few people are opening those and trying to understand why it has been said to be the greatest knowledge on the planet. What is so special in written in Bhagavad Gita that can solve all my problems? People just don't know it. Then the practical Vijnana, that's a practical or realized knowledge. People go by herd mentality. All the lunchroom discussions, dinner table discussions happens on herd mentality. This, he said that, he said those. Few people are actually, taking up Krishna consciousness to realize, to understand that how this knowledge can also bring happiness. It's how can it be nectarian and also can be practically applied in today's day-to-day life. Religiousness, not accepting religion is very common. We can make movies on how gods are false, but that's and earn a lot of money in that process. But a Brahmana will stick to the religion. Santosh, satisfaction. Whereas opposite to that, what we see in society is greed, hankering, and always unsatisfied. The truthfulness is missing completely in the society. The firm faith in Vedas. So if you take a look at these 12 minimum qualities that should exist in a Brahmana, we'll see that most of the Brahmanas, those who call themselves Brahmanas, also don't possess any of those, or even if they are there, they are in very, very minute quantities. So there's no question that anybody unnecessarily claiming themselves as Brahmanas and others treating others as a Kshudras. So everyone, as Prabhupada said, is Kshudra. So Kim Punar Brahmana Punya Bhakta Rajar Shayas Tatha Anitya Asukham Lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Next verse, Krishna says, how much more this is so for the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Bhajasva Mam is the emphasis. The whole emphasis in this verse is Bhajasva Mam. Who all Bhajasva Mam? Who all start worshipping Krishna? Everybody. He's covered the Brahmanas, the Bhaktas, and the Rajarshis, the kings, saintly kings, Rajarshi. Everybody, nobody wants to engage or remain permanently in this loka. How is this loka? Current loka is anitya, temporary, and asukham. There is no sukha. A sukha and opposite to that is asukham. Asukham is dukhalaya shashvatam. Basically, he's saying, he's again in different words, he's saying dukhalaya shashvatam. Anitya asukham lokam. This lok, the material world, is a temporary and miserable world. And so who will want to remain here? So everybody should try to worship me. Bhajasvamam. Everyone should try and worship me. How? Again, Krishna says, Prabhupada writes in the purport that it is clearly stated here, Anityam Asukham. Anitya is temporary and Asukham is full of misery. So it's not habitable for any gentleman. So any good person should not want to be here. So this world is declared by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be temporary and full of miseries. Some philosophers, especially Mayavadi philosophers, say that this world is false. But we can understand from Bhagavad Gita that it is not false and it is temporary. There is a difference in temporary and false. The world is temporary, but there is another world which is eternal. This world is miserable, but that other world is eternal and blissful. So um, so the Mayavadi philosophers, they use a term called naiti. Naiti. So reject everything because it is all temporary. So Krishna says, because it is a false, it is a Mayavadi philosopher generally says that this world is false, therefore reject it. And what is true, that you accept, but the world is not false. If you perform actions in this world, you face consequences for those actions. So the world is not false. World is temporary, but it's not false. So you are responsible for your actions that you perform in this world. Hence, the world is real. World is Krishna's creation. It's Krishna's energy, but it is real also. So Prabhupada further says, no one should remain in this temporary world, full as it is with miseries. Everyone should attach himself to the bosom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that he can be eternally happy. So the objective for everyone is to be happy. So why try to become happy in a place of misery? Why search for happiness where there is which in the place where why search for tiny happiness in a place which is full with misery? So Prabhupada or Krishna is inviting a different thing, a different dimension, giving a different dimension of life to everyone, to his devotees, saying that why waste your years here? Why not come back to me, and where there can be eternal happiness? So the devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Therefore, everyone should therefore take to Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect. Very bold statements by Srila Prabhupada. And so this is what makes this Bhagavad Gita special. There's no so Prabhupada brings out the end objective of reading Bhagavad Gita in every purport that you read. So even if a person has read just one purport, he get the ultimate message of Gita. You don't have to wait for all 18 chapters to get concluded to come to a stage where you can say Karishya Vachanam Tava. You can say that after reading any verse, after reading any purport. And Acharyas, this is Acharyas' mercy upon us because they know the ultimate truth and they put that ultimate truth everywhere. No matter how much our patience will be, who will stop coming, attending these classes after this session, but they would have heard what they need to hear. They need to hear this, that nobody should try and stay, make a permanent home in this world, because they will this plan will be frustrated. They will not find happiness eternally. Nobody will be eternally happy. And even if they are in a comfortable position today, tomorrow's time will change, and after death whatever you have earned will be taken away, and you'll have to start from zero once again. So don't waste your years here. You have tried this multiple life, millions of time you have tried this. Now try this. And that's why the scriptures are required, so that the material world can give us knowledge about the material things, but the scripture can only give us knowledge about the spiritual home. The spiritual subject can be can be learned only from the scripture. And Krishna concludes this discussion by this beautiful verse: Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru mam eveshyasi yuktatvai mama atmanam mat parayana. So the previous verse, Krishna finishes by saying bhajasvamam. So the thrust of this verse was bhajasvamam, that all these people, they start worshipping me. And how to worship Krishna is again reiterated. Now this Krishna has explained this multiple times in the 9th chapter itself. Krishna has said that satata kirtayanto mam namasya yatantascha dridhavrata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta nitya yukta upasate, that satata kirtayanto mam, always engage in chanting my glories, singing my glories. Yatantascha dridhavrata, was trying very hard to serve me. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya, that by paying obeisances to me. Nitya yukta upasate, always upasana karta hai meri, yeah, always engage in performing devotional service to me. So similar mood Krishna is expressing it here. Man mana bhava, always engage your mind in thinking of me. So 7th chapter started by the verse where Krishna says, Maya sakta mana partha, that get your mind attached to me. Now here again he's reiterating that engage your mind always in thinking of me. Srila Rupa Goswami says that yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshate, that anyhow somehow get your mind to invest in Krishna. Niveshate is invest. So that engage in Krishna, think of Krishna, that become my devotee, mad yaji, mad bhava mad bhakto, bhava mad bhakto and mad yaji, perform offer obeisances to me. And so think of me and become my devotee. Now these are internal. Internally one can think of Krishna, internally one can try and become a devotee of Krishna. Externally, how these thoughts are manifested by offering obeisances. So wherever we'll go in front of Krishna or he will meet his devotees, will fall flat on ground and pay obeisances, and we'll worship Krishna, will worship by following all the 9 processes of devotional service, starting from hearing and chanting. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. We'll look at purport and we will end today's session. We'll go to the question answer. So in this verse, it's a long purport, again classic purport from Srila Prabhupada. All of you, we picked up some pictures of Srila Prabhupada performing puja during the opening ceremony of Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan. So this happened in, I think, 1977, the early 1977 or 77. And probably after that, Prabhupada just went to UK, came back, and he left his body in the same year, in November 14 November 1977. So so this is Krishna Balram temple. This was his dream. He wanted to give this temple to his disciples, American house as it was famous for as. And so this verse, we'll see some pictures of Prabhupada performing different types of worshipping Radha, Krishna Balram. So the worship is, this is what is required to be done. This verse clearly indicates that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of the contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here. that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, some commentators divert the mind of the people, the reader, to which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. So these are who are these commentators? So Prabhupada is speaking very heavily about Mayavadi commentators who try to interpret this verse in saying that you need to go within the unborn, within the Krishna. So don't think of Krishna, think of the unborn within Krishna. So that's a kind of a philosophy that has been given in some of the Gita commentaries, which completely distorts the meaning of Krishna. And whereas Krishna is asking you to become his devotee, the entire mood in this entire chapter, the series of verses that Krishna has spoken since 9.26 till this 9.34, it's very personal. It's very personal conversation between him and Arjuna. Now, Arjuna being a devotee immediately standing in front of him, but through Arjuna, he's speaking with all of us. And this is a one-to-one, heart-to-heart conversation in which he's saying, if you offer to me anything in love, I will accept it. I will take it. Now it's like saying somebody as big, somebody as supreme as Krishna, and we'll hear in the Vibhuti Yoga how great Krishna is. In the 11th chapter, in the Vishwarup Darshan, we'll understand how magnanimous Krishna is. He's not ordinary person, but he says, "I will, if you will offer to me with love, I am forced to accept it. I'm bound by your love and I'll do anything for you. Even if you fall down, even if you do something abominable, I will still not leave you. I will still retrieve you. I will still get you back on course. I will still arrange situation in such a way that you will come back to me. You will come back to take up the devotional. You will again take up the devotional service and you will eventually come to me. I will not rest until you come back to me. Once you accept me as your once you accept me, once you start performing bhakti. So Krishna says, no matter what happens, I will not leave you. So this is his personal feeling that he's expressing about all the jivas, all the souls through Arjuna. And some of the commentators put it in incorrect way. And the devotees, when the Lord is not glorified, when the Lord is rather misrepresented, the devotees become angry. And that's why Prabhupada has been used to be very heavy dealing with the Mayavadi philosophers, because they are distorting the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. They are stabbing. It's like stabbing a Bhagavad Gita. The whole purpose, the whole meaning of Bhagavad Gita is a loving conversation between two friends, two dear friends. And Krishna is offering this opportunity to all the jivas who are listening to this conversation or who are reading about this conversation later, in the later generations to come. So this is a personal conversation between those two souls, and calling it, giving any other meaning to it is like stabbing the whole, is like stabbing the Bhagavad Gita, the message of Bhagavad Gita. And because of this, the devotees get extremely angry. Like we heard in the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's pastime that Prakashananda Saraswati, he's forgot his name, Raghunath Acharya. Raghunath Acharya, when he's conversing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he's saying, you don't know his Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then his disciples start arguing with him. How do you know that he's Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because I have received his mercy, therefore I know. And you have not yet received his mercy, therefore you don't know. So his arguments are natural, because he's devotee. He is devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, and he cannot tolerate anybody saying anything wrong about Krishna, about Lord Chaitanya, and therefore he starts arguing there. So Prabhupada also, wherever possible, he presented his view in a very bold way. And this is where again he's quoting different scriptures, writings of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati as well, to prove to make his point further, that Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in Kurma Purana that it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami that देहा देही विभेदो यम yem nevashre vidyate kaschit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know the science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind, from his body. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna. Now, Prabhupada talks about Kamsa because now some people may think of Krishna, but in a negative way. Now, what happens to those people? So, takes example of Krishna. Kamsa was thinking about Krishna always, and what was his gati? Let's see. Kamsa was thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come and kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. So none of us should have that kind of a thinking about Krishna. And one should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to be learned from a bona fide teacher. Understanding Krishna otherwise from wrong source will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the supreme. He should engage himself in worship. Such when such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything that will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One must engage in 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. The last slide. The sweet loving exchange. Now, just to summarize, just to summarize, the whole Bhagavad Gita is a conversation, a sweet loving conversation between two friends who are extremely dear to each other. Bhakta Swami Sakhacheti. This similar is the experience of loving exchange that happens between Krishna and all his devotees. Now, Arjuna was symbolic. Arjuna was a nimitta matra. But Krishna is speaking with all of us, and there is constant sweet loving exchange that takes place between Krishna and his devotee. A devotee, what does a devotee do? Devotee try and offer everything that they have to Krishna. Devotee try to serve Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, ego, material possessions, everything. Whatever he has, he give everything, use everything to serve Krishna. And Krishna also reciprocates with his devotees and do whatever that is required to protect devotees' devotion or bhakti. So using all the facilities provided by Krishna, a devotee serve him during lifetime, never forgets him, and then return to Krishna at the end of his life. So this is a quick summary of this. The facility for becoming a pure devotee of Krishna is available in the form of hearing and chanting. Everything begins by hearing and chanting. So the hearing sessions are arranged by us in the evening. Chanting sessions are arranged in the morning. So it's 4:45, not 5:15. So those who wants to get up early, the chanting begins from 4:45 onwards, 4:45 a.m. onwards, it goes on till 7:30. And reading or hearing of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that starts from 8:30 till 9:15. So we'll end with this slide and we'll go to any question answers that we may have.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Vikas Prabhu.
As usual, you always used to pour in some kind of nectar from Bhagavad Gita and some kind of concept here in every coming session. Like the ninth chapter, you have referred some verses, and the meaning it intensified the meaning of that. And that is what is the benefit of listening from a pure devotee like you and from Rotam Priya Prabhuji. So thank you very much for clarifying and giving such a wonderful meaning of all those shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all your nice words. So, Bhagavad Kumar Prabhuji, you want to say something? Okay, I'll just unmute you. You please unmute yourself if you wish to speak. Yeah. If there are any questions, we can discuss now, or else we can end today's session.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you one of the mention that in the Mayavadi philosophy, it is mentioned that it is the Krishna, and just thinking about this unborn Krishna, unborn things. Can you just elaborate these things in more?
No need. It will just create more confusion. So the unborn within Krishna is like thinking of. So if you take example of halwa being cooked in home, when halwa is cooked, then naturally there is a fragrance in the house. Like when the rava or suji is roasted on the ghee, there is a fragrance that comes. Then there is a halwa is put into a plate or bowl. So that is also halwa. So the fragrance also originates from halwa. So fragrance also indicates that there is halwa. Then there is a bowl which is full of halwa, and then there is a halwa tasted. One taste halwa by putting a spoon of halwa into our mouth. Now all three are manifestations of halwa. Now one cannot be satisfied just by smelling the fragrance which is coming from halwa. It's it's unfulfilling. Beyond a point, you may initially feel good, but eventually you want to see from where this fragrance is originating. So you progress further and become a meditator, and then you try to. So initially, it's right to say that there is halwa everywhere in the inside the home, but that is because in the form of fragrance it is actually available everywhere. You may be sitting, there are 4 rooms in the house, and in all 4 rooms that fragrance is available, but that is not fulfilling, that is not helping you. It may trigger inquiry that from where this halwa, the fragrance is coming. Though initially it may be soothing, you may feel very happy about it, but that happiness does not last for long. So eventually you want to see from where this fragrance is coming, and then you go towards kitchen or wherever that bowl of halwa is kept, and then when you see that bowl, you again become happy that now you know that this was not some other sweet, this was not rasgulla, this was not gulab jamun, but this was actually the halwa, which happens to be say your favorite dish. And so there is happiness there also, that you see that bowl, one big bowl full of halwa, you feel happy. So now you have fragrance and you also have the sight. But is that fulfilling? No, because you don't want to stop there. You want to also experience halwa. So you want to for experiencing halwa, you need to put that halwa into your mouth and experience it. Experience the nectar, the rasa in it. So any other philosophy which only asks you to become satisfied by smelling fragrance of halwa will lead to frustration eventually. So it's not that when there is no smell and when there is smell, of course there is a change and there is some happiness there you may experience, but that will live very short. That's at a very short life. It has a very short life. Eventually, you will be hankering for more. But when you put halwa into your mouth, you taste it goes into every corner of your mouth, your tongue, and every sense, every pore of your body experiences halwa. There is nothing more to be experienced. So Mayavadi philosopher is that, and no point in discussing that in greater detail beyond this.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It is very much clear. Just want to understand.
Yeah,
Very good.
sure. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. And then, so I think if there are no more questions, I'll just stop the recording.